Hello, everybody. Welcome tonight. We're excited to have Mark Pitstick in tonight and glad to have you all here. And if you're not muted, if you could do that, that would be very helpful. So our mission, Helping Parents Heal, is a nonprofit organization dedicated to assisting parents whose children have passed. Through support and resources offered, we aspire to help individuals become shining light parents, meaning a shift from a state of emotional heaviness to one of hopefulness and greater peace of mind. HPH goes a step beyond other groups by allowing the open discussion of spiritual experiences and afterlife evidence in a non-dogmatic way. HPH affiliate groups welcome everyone, regardless of religious or non-religious background, and encourage open dialogue. Attendance at this meeting is voluntary. We hope that participants will learn from and share with each other. Discussions here are confidential and not designed to replace traditional therapy or spiritual counseling. Helping Parents Heal offers a wide variety of speakers, allowing parents to learn about many possible ways to heal. This includes presenters covering progressive topics such as afterlife evidence and connecting with children who have passed. The views expressed by our guest speakers may or may not reflect the opinions of Helping Parents Heal leaders and members, so we ask that you take from their presentations whatever may benefit you personally. Welcome, everybody, and thank you, Mark, for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you, Lynn, for all you do. And welcome, everyone. This evening, we're going to be doing one of my favorite techniques called the LAF technique, L-A-F, love, accept, and forgive. And last time I said, well, we can't do the actual technique during this 1-hour class, but actually this is an exception. In other words, I realized that there's a difference in, excuse me, there's a difference in running these sessions. For example, tonight, establishing love, acceptance, forgiveness with yourself and others versus, say, getting to a deep, deep place where you're perceiving your child and visiting. So we can do a bit of one on this and at least give you a taste of it.
And was also hinted about operating with fewer schools in the future. So we'll see what she addresses tonight.
Everyone, please mute yourself. And so we'll focus this evening on the most important one, which is loving, accepting, forgiving yourself. And so I'll ask you to think a bit about it. So again, to make this more clear, this technique is described in article number 40, and it gives a long introduction about it, how to have an optimal experience. And then, as some of you know, all of my audio programs, all my ebooks, audiobooks are now free. So you can go to soulproof.com/shop and use the full technique, because the full audio is about 40 minutes long. Has a deep induction, much more than we'll be doing tonight. And I think it allows you 3 opportunities. So for example, you may want to reach love, acceptance, forgiveness with someone who is associated with your child's passing. I mean, I've heard from so many people over the years, you know, a drunk driver, a murder, a physician who seemed to be involved in malpractice, etc. There's so many different situations. So again, you'll have an opportunity to use this at home, using it as full depth. Tonight, though, we're going to do kind of a mini one that will give you a good idea about it. And then it'll also give you a chance, by doing kind of a trial run here, it'll give you a chance to experience what it was like, and then, hey, I ran into this, or I didn't see much. So that's the outline. Now, actually, I will ask whoever raises their hand. I would like 3 people to give me a one-word answer. What do you consider is the opposite energy or emotion of forgiveness? So just raise your hand and unmute yourself to answer. One word answer. What's the opposite of forgiveness? Yes, Margaret?
I would think maybe hatred.
And I'm sorry, what's that again?
Maybe hatred.
Okay. Thank you. And Peter?
A grudge.
Good. And who else do we have here? Margaret, did you have your hand up? There, I said Deborah. Okay, one more. What's another?
Anger? Would there be anger?
Anger? Good. Okay, yeah. So you get it. And to make this point, I want to screen share for a moment and share this. This comes from David Hawkins, MD, HD, MD, PhD. It says at the top, map of consciousness. You can Google map of consciousness, Dr. Hawkins, and this will come up, and then you can print it. I have a couple copies of it where I can see it because it contains so much information that helps you understand the nature of reality and why it's so important to have love, acceptance, and forgiveness toward yourself. For example, in our 3 weeks ago, in our last Ask the Soul Doctor class, there was a mom whose child was in hospice, and his body or her body was dying of cancer. You notice how I said that. The daughter wasn't dying of cancer, just her body was. And you know that the earthly body is much less than 1% of who and what each one of us are. So this is many years ago again. The daughter had, which is fairly common when a person's near bodily death from cancer, what's called terminal agitation. The body just shakes, they moan a lot, and the mom felt so bad that she couldn't do anything to help. She felt helpless and hopeless. And she's wrestled with that for many years. She felt guilty that she couldn't help her daughter more. Now, I think we all understand that from a human perspective, from a logical perspective. What would Dr. Spock say? It does not compute, but from a human perspective, of course we understand it, but who benefits from that feeling guilty all these years? So if you look at the bottom down in the red, shame, guilt, grief, fear, anger, those are the lowest energies, from 20 to 150 points. And when you're focused on those energies, then you feel things like hate toward others and yourself, anxiety, despair. And these are the kinds of energies, if you live with for a long time, can lead you toward considering suicide. Or it can make you believe, on the God view over here, that God isn't vindictive. I mean, I have parents say, is God punishing me? And I'm like, well, my God sure doesn't act that way. My God wouldn't do that. But people can then fall into fundamentalist religions that say, God will send you to hell forever. You don't believe what we believe, and donate a lot of money. So you don't want to hang out down here, obviously. So now you go up to the top: peace, joy, love, enlightenment, 500 to 1,000 in the points. And when you're living up here, and it's a moment by moment choice, by the way, which wolf do you feed? What do you focus on? Then you have a view that God is wise, loving, all. God is one. And you are a part of that. God is yourself, includes yourself. And then you have emotions such as ineffable, meaning it can't even be described. But below that, bliss, serenity, reverence, understanding. This is where you want to live. So this is a big reason why this technique we're about to do this evening is so important. And big takeaway, these energies we're talking about, this isn't just how you feel, this is who you are. In other words, you may think that, you're a person with long hair and 40 years old or whatever. That's the earthly perspective. From the most accurate perspective, you are energy. You are light. You are information. And is that energy smooth and refined and flowing, or is it erratic and hectic, you see? And that's the difference between feeling like you're in hell or in heaven. And that energy that you are shapes then your reality on earth and after earth. Are you healthy? Are you prosperous? Do you have friends? Are you in love? Or you have the opposite of all that? So this is really big, big stuff. I think I made my point on that one. Let's see, what else do I want to share that before we start? Oh, so this mom, by the way, who shared this story, and there was another mom before that, her son passed 4 years before and had the same thing, terminal agitation. And she said, yeah, I stay up at night and I worried that he suffer. And so from those two moms sharing their fear and worry about this, I thought, because the question was, did they really suffer? Did they suffer horribly? And my answer was, the short is that the soul can exit the body before things get that bad. And, some near-death experiencers, for example, describe watching it from above impassively. They're not feeling the pain. In other words, I mean, it's pretty simple. If you were in that dire circumstance, whatever, got stabbed or shot or run over, whatever, would you stick with A, the less than 0.1% of yourself that's right in the midst of that pain, or B, the 99.9% of yourself that's like, I'm out of here. That wasn't my real self anyway. It was just a play. We were just here for a blink of an eye. I mean, it's an easy decision. So that's why souls will move on. So the next day, I started writing an article. I emailed people like Suzanne Giesman and Eben Alexander and Jan Holden, the president of IANS, International Association of Near-Death Studies. And I wrote article number 126. So yes, another article has been written, and it's the fault of you people. So it also brings up that their suffering had meaning. I mean, if they hadn't gone all through that, they wouldn't have asked the question. I wouldn't have answered. I wouldn't have written. And now so many people are going to benefit from that, because that's a real common question. Like Dr. Holden said, oh my God, Mark, that is such an important question. And I don't think anybody's ever addressed it. I mean, with an evidential way, collecting all kinds of, I think I had 7 categories of evidence. And so the point is, there's always silver linings. And when you bring up something, if I don't find good resources for it, I'll make them happen. Okay, so that's enough. So just some brief interview before we do this. Probably 20-minute session, because I want to be time for sharing and questions afterwards. Don't be tied to my verbs I use. I'm a pretty visual person, partly because I don't hear very well. So I may say, see yourself this, see yourself that. Well, if you're not a visually oriented person, you may not see anything. Don't let that concern you. That's not your fault or shortcoming. It's just that you pick up information in other ways. You may hear it, you may know it, you may feel it. So just be very clear about that. We'll just do 4 areas of the body: deep contraction, relaxation, and then just a couple little induction places to get you to a deeply relaxed state. So for those of you who have gone through this before, it's important to control your environment. In other words, turn off your phone. If there's anyone else in the house with you, Tell them, hey, we're going to do a little, you can just call it a meditation. Please don't disturb. If you have dogs or cats, it's better not to have them in the room with you because they jump up on your lap and you're in the middle of that. It can bring you back to your body. And then certainly if you have to go to the bathroom, you know, you don't want to hold in for 20 minutes. So just some basic things like that. And then, as I say, what we'll focus on is you as you are now, loving, accepting, and forgiving yourself at the time around your child's passing. Because so many parents, keep in mind again, a similar, you know, I talk about our real selves, 99.999% of who and what we are is more than this body, energy, light, information. Well, interestingly, the brain perceives only much less than 1% of reality. So that's why it's so important to relax the brain so that your real self can remember the big picture of life and get in touch with things. So because a lot of people don't know about that and don't do that on a regular basis, they make up stories. And, you know, and I'm not criticizing, I'm not demeaning at all, but these stories don't serve anyone because they're not accurate. So, for example, a parent will say, if only I would have detected, you know, there was something off with him, I should have seen it. If I would have seen it, he wouldn't have gone out that night and fill in the blank, you know, overdosed or got in a car wreck or whatever. Well, that story is really not true. First of all, your child's an eternal soul, just like you, and perhaps more evolved than any of us. Secondly, souls have a time of passing on, and has been demonstrated many times. When it's someone's time to go, I mean, even if you stopped at that time, like you're not leaving the house, they would have passed another way. We have evidence of that from so many different ways. You know, kids come through in multiple mediums independently and say, Mom, if I hadn't passed this way, I would have passed another way. It was my time. The other thing is to think that you're that powerful, you know, that you could have changed fate or could have stopped, you know, what's supposed to happen. So the point is, again, that many parents, it's like a record that keeps playing and you wear a groove in the record, but you do that in your brain. If only I would have done that. If only I wouldn't have done that. I would have said this. I hadn't said it. You drive yourself crazy and probably the people around you. And your child's going, what the hell, Dad? You know, don't you remember the big picture? We were soulmates. We planned this thing. We had a beautiful vision for this. Come on, get with the program. So that's a big part of what this is about. And I'm giving this to you rapidly and straight up, and feel free to ask questions after we're done about any of that. But any questions about the technique, any concerns before we begin? Raise your hand, please. Okay, well, let's begin, and let's block your video for this, and certainly your audio. Lynn, I don't know if we have a way to do that on Moss, but that way you don't have to worry about, you know, anyone seeing you. I'm the only one who can see you, and then with your mouth hanging open when you're relaxed. So we've got Lynn and Debbie. Block your video, please. Good. Let's have you preferably sit up straight with your feet flat on the floor. Although if you're reclining, it should be okay for this short technique. Focusing on my voice and breathing slowly and deeply. Belly breathing, letting your abdomen bulge out when you breathe in and pull up and in as you exhale. Let's begin by alternately contracting and relaxing a few major muscle groups. starting with the feet and legs. So take a deep breath in and then tense up the muscles in your feet and legs. Hold them tight. Hold it. And as you exhale, let those muscles relax. Good. Now the muscles of the chest and back, take a deep breath in and tighten your chest muscles up and feel that tightness. Notice how unnatural and comfortable that feels. And then as you exhale, how good it feels to let those muscles relax. Feeling warm, heavy. Now the muscles of the hands and arms. Take a deep breath in and make a fist with each hand and clench those muscles in your fist, in your hands and arms. Hold it, and exhale and relax. And finally, the muscles of your upper traps, your shoulders. Take a deep breath in and raise your shoulders up toward your ears. Tense those muscles up. Hold it, and let them drop down as you breathe. Slowly and deeply. Already feeling a very pleasant wave of relaxation rolling over you. Now picture, imagine, visualize using any and all of your senses, seeing, hearing, feeling, knowing, yourself at the top of a staircase. Below are 10 steps, and with my count from 10 to 1, sense yourself slowly, safely descending. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Standing before an ornately decorated door, and you know this door represents a gateway to an even deeper state of relaxation. With my count from 3 to 1, see yourself opening the door and stepping through. 3, 2, 1. Encountering a misty, foggy environment that feels so good. You feel the moistness of the air on your skin. And ahead of you, you see a path. And you find yourself walking along this path, knowing that you are always watched over, loved, assisted, guided, more than you can imagine, by good and God, love and light. As you walk along, you continue breathing slowly and deeply, focusing on my voice. And you notice that some sunlight begins streaming through the fog. And you can feel that on your skin as well. And this light makes obvious the path before you. So you can see you're in a beautiful woodland with all manner of trees, plants, flowers. You smell them, hear the rustle of the wind in the trees, feeling so good. As you continue to walk, you actually hear before you see a stream, a babbling brook. And as you draw closer to it, you notice a bench sitting beside the stream, just waiting for you to sit there a bit and let your awareness, your consciousness, your soul, your real self engage in a wonderfully healing exercise, one that will bless your body and brain on earth. Take a moment and get comfortable on this bench, seeing the stream, as you realize what a powerful metaphor this is of letting the water flow, It gets old real fast trying to hold that water back by yourself. In fact, as you know, it's impossible. So letting the water flow, water over the dam, water under the bridge, and having peace about what's happened. One way to do that, loving, accepting, forgiving yourself. As I count from 5 to 1, you'll see yourself as you are now, or know yourself, hear yourself, speaking to you as you were around the time of your child's passing. That's the interaction. That's the part of you that we want to love, accept, and forgive now. Your current self, loving, accepting, forgiving yourself at the time of your child's transition from Earth. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Remembering that if you can't see your prior self, then just feel that part of you. Know, hear that part of you. And so now your current self in 2025, since you saying to this prior version of you, I love you for who and what you are. No matter what happened, what you did or didn't do, you were doing the best you could. Everyone does the best they can with what they have to work with, what they know, what they remember at the time. Next, I accept you, and I hope you accept what happened. We can't change it. It's in the past, and we now know there are many silver linings, blessings, quite possibly plans behind it. That's what we can focus on now, instead of being stuck in those lower energies of self-judgment, blame, shame, anger, etc. Take a slow, deep breath, and as you exhale, think love, acceptance. You're doing great. And now forgiveness. Perceive your current day self forgiving this earlier part of you, even though it's not really needed, because as A Course in Miracles says, God and the angels don't forgive because they never condemn in the first place. But we humans sometimes condemn ourselves, judge ourselves very harshly. Like we discussed, superhuman levels. I should have known and should have stopped, and perhaps when that wasn't even what was supposed to happen. So given all that, just see, feel, hear yourself saying to your prior version, I forgive you. I let it go. I'm not going to carry it around anymore. It's too heavy. It serves no one. And now take a few slow healing breaths. Good. Now let's reverse those roles. See, hear, feel, or know your prior self, yourself, the time of your child's ascension, your child returning home. Saying to your current day self, I love you too. I know you're doing the best you can. I know it's not easy. Sometimes, maybe never. But I love you and I'm proud of you for how you're dealing with this. That you're going to this class, that you're working on yourself. You didn't give up. Let that loving energy just wash over you, soak it up. And now, since your current version of yourself saying to your present day version, I accept you. I accept what happened. I let it go. I let go and let God. I'm tired of carrying around all the shouldas, wouldas, couldas. So I hope you accept it too. We can do this together. And finally, your prior version saying, I forgive you. I forgive you for anything you think you need to be forgiven for, because in fact, there's nothing. You are doing so well. You're doing your best. And I know you're going to keep doing that the best you can. This prior self may have judged you now. Well, why didn't the part of me 10 years later know all this and prevent it? Again, making up stories that aren't even based on reality. So just let all that go. Express the forgiveness. And let it wash over you. Let it become part of your new energetic template. Mother, Father, God, thank you for letting all these dear ones love, accept, and forgive themselves now and in the past, any aspect of themselves. Letting go of the anger, resentment, the judgment, the guilt, and being filled with peace, joy, love, acceptance, and forgiveness. Thank you, and so it is. Amen. And now it's time to let yourself gradually, gently come back to a waking state with my count from 1 to 5. Slowly, gently coming back, leaving all lower energy emotions, energies, ways of being behind, and being filled with higher ones. 1, 2, 3. Becoming more aware of the clothing on your body. 4, starting to wiggle your toes and fingers a bit. And 5, when you're ready, opening your eyes. Yes, and please do enable your video now so I can see you. Ooh, I tell you, the power of these sessions has to do with the people in the group. Brew Joy is a medical doctor, wrote a book many years ago called Joy's Way. He said the energy of a group is the square of the number of participants who are fully engaged. So we have about 1,600 times the energy that one person can generate by themselves. And some of you are some pretty seriously evolved souls. I mean, I've been leading this technique for 25 years, right? I created it. I'm sitting here, tears in my eyes, and can hardly talk, and I'm cracking up. And so, I mean, cracking up emotionally. Yeah, so I see some other eyes being wiped. Woo! So thank you for that, because I know I need to do that myself. You know, it's a good, first of all, it's good to use it, you know, at least once a week for a month or two, and then every other week, you know, a few times, and like that, kind of like a series of massages or chiropractic adjustments, acupuncture, more often in the beginning, then less and less often, then eventually just maintenance. So once a month is good just to get clear, because when you go deep, you'll realize, oh, I'm still hanging on to that. I thought I got rid of that by now. So anything that pops up, you can clear out. Okay, so thank you, Kelly. So I wonder if a few people would like to share it. Now, if you didn't experience anything, don't worry about it, because that was like the 7-Eleven, you know, version of that technique. Use the full technique, again described in article number 40 and free at soulproof.com/shop. Yes, Jessica.
Thank you, as always, for your time. I guess I have a question. So I was able to get through the love and acceptance piece. But once we hit forgiveness, immediately I heard my brain say, nope, and just stop. So is that something that repeating the process will get me through, or?
Definitely. Yes, you know, it's difficult to forgive. And I think that's one reason why, you know, Jesus and other great teachers say, yeah, shall we forgive 7 times? No, 7 times 7. Basically, infinitely, and forgiving others and ourselves. There's a there are human concepts of justice that are so wrong. And I think part of the difficulty in forgiving ourselves or others, like, why be letting myself off the hook? Or I be letting them off the hook. Justice needs to be served. You know, heads need to roll. People need to suffer here. When in fact, that's, remember the map of consciousness. It doesn't benefit anyone. So yeah, we'll make it easier. And if you find some difficulty doing that, it may be good to do the holistic breathing technique first. That's described in article number 70, also available free under shop. So anything else about that?
Nope, thank you. I think I could forgive other people. It's forgiving myself. That's the
Yeah,
hard
no.
one.
That's why I say in the full technique, I say, and now the toughest one of all, forgiving yourself. So yeah, welcome to the human race. Yes, Eric.
Yeah, so thanks again, Mark. I've been on a couple of calls with you. It's it's really hard to I don't feel like I'm holding grievances against anybody. But when somebody is directly responsible for the death of your child, um, how do
I know.
you know
Well, one mom said recently, my my child died, it broke my heart. My child's body died. But it also expanded my heart, and it helped me see more of the big picture of life. So I've told this story before, but it bears repeating. This is the first Helping Parents Heal conference. And I was doing the facilitated afterlife technique, you know, where you go deep and you have a chance to visit with your child. And so there was a bunch of people came up afterwards, but this one mom said, my intention was to visit with my daughter. Her body was killed by a drunk driver. And she said, to my amazement, who came through to visit? The drunk driver. She said, I don't know if he's still on earth or if he passed on, but I looked into his eyes, this soul, and she said, I knew it was him. And all I saw, she said, I was all ready to hate him and destroy him. And all I saw was love and sadness. And she said, I saw in that moment that he was one of our soulmates. And this was designed on a soul level because it was known that if my daughter passed in such a seemingly horrible way, it would touch and wake up so many people. And he, out of love, pretended to be the bad guy, the drunk, you know, SOB who did this, when in fact he's one of our team that took on that hated role. And she said, oh my God, life is so much bigger and more beautiful than I ever imagined. So that's how you do it, my friend. And the holistic breathing technique we just mentioned, you know, because I can see your emotion and pain and sadness. How long ago did Jordan pass? Tell me.
About 2.5 years.
Okay, so that's not very long. And what happened?
She was in an accident, and the medical treatment she got was wrong, and she survived the accident almost unscathed, but they missed something that they should not have missed, and she died 6 weeks later, to our surprise.
Yeah.
You know,
And it happens every day. Anybody that works in hospitals will tell you, you know, they're not perfect, they're learning. So yeah, do the breath work, do this technique. If there are specific doctors involved, see them or just see them you know, as a group, the hospital caregivers.
thank you. Thanks, Mark.
Yeah, that's a good start. And if you run any log jams along the way, email me. And same way with all of you, mark@soulproof.com. Say, hey, Mark, I've used this a few times, but I can't get past this. And I'll give you some input and we'll go from there. We'll get through this together.
Thank you, Mark.
My pleasure. Marina, oh my old friend. It wouldn't, it wouldn't be a class without you, Marie.
I cannot ask if it is bothering. I would stop asking.
No, go right ahead. What's your question or what you want to share, dear?
I don't have much to share. I just have a question for you. I try very hard to follow your instructions, but I most likely I fail because I cannot forgive the people who partially were guilty of my son's passing. And my question is, what's the point of forgiving them? It will not return my son back. And these people do not care at all. You talked about the woman who saw the soul of the drunk driver and there was love. Who cares? His soul has love. It's over there. But I want my son on earth. I would give away easily every silver lining, anything I learn, just for my son to be with me here. And I believe all the parents in the group would do the same. They will give away everything they learn just to have their kids with them.
Well, thank you for sharing and putting that in such a clear way. And I'm sure many people do feel that way. So let me go back to our map of consciousness and just hear me out again. And by the way, you may need to use the holistic breathing. You may need to use this love, acceptance, forgiveness. It might take some time, but let's take one more shot at this chart. So why forgive? Because who is hurt? In other words, the people guilty of your child's passing. When you feel anger and hatred at them, do you think they feel it? Not unless you're a voodoo woman or something. I doubt it. Who feels it? Point to the person that feels it.
People who saw him sliding and what the simple things they can do. His apartment owner, she
Well,
saw him
hold
sliding.
on.
And she
Hold
can
on, dear.
call me. She talked to me twice a week this week when he passed, and she didn't mention it at all.
All right, let's try it one more time. Marina, when you feel down here, guilt, grief, anger, who feels that the most? Point to the person that feels that the most.
I do.
Thank you. That's the point. And that's the reason for doing this. So you release that, and that way you're not living with that, and you make your child proud of you. You're able to see the silver linings and share them. You're able to fulfill the plan that's behind this. Now, I'm not saying this is easy, but it is possible. A lot of parents have done it, and you can as well. So email me, please, and I will go down the list. But basically, it's if you're not already, work with one or more caring listeners. We have these wonderful caring listeners to work with because I can feel your pain. I can feel your anger. I understand. And I'm not saying you shouldn't feel it, but I'm saying there's another way. And your child is rooting you on and saying, come on, mom, you can do this. You can take the higher path. That's what all these parents in the Shining Light Parent Speak book did. So let me also share for you and for others how you can watch those again. So where am I? Excuse me one second. All right, so we're at the Helping Parents Heal. Oh, you busted me. I was watching football scores before the so here we are, Helping Parents Heal. And then if you go to the top, YouTube videos, and then the very first affiliate leader / caring listener interviews. Here's myself and some supermodel that was helping me out at the time, and watch these videos. So contact a caring listener. And by the way, you do that by going to, well, first of all, here's the videos. You can listen to these parents. Just do one an evening and see what did they do? What do they have to share? Here's how you find a caring listener. Here's our current group of folks, wonderful folks. What? Here they are again, Ken and Barbie. They're everywhere. Okay, you can use the techniques I mentioned because the world, Marina, you are a strong soul. I mean, everybody could feel it when you're describing it. The world needs your light, and you deserve to feel happy again and peaceful, which I know you don't sometimes. So let's just leave it at that and let someone else ask. But do the things I mentioned, and then please contact me, and we'll make sure you understand all the points. Okay? God bless you. Rita.
Thank you for that meditation. It was beautiful, and I need to get on your website. It never seems to happen, so I'm gonna make it happen. And thank you for everything you're doing for all of us. When I was sitting by the water, I could, and I felt this before, but I just feel like it was it's all orchestrated, and it was just like, okay, it's go time. And then all these guides, and there's so much, even though we're in the most agonizing pain, because we're in the most agonizing pain possible, we are receiving help at the same time. And often when we start to feel a little bit stronger, we're like, okay, I'm really ready to communicate and get the help now. And sometimes, we're not, we have to stand on our own 2 feet and get the help. But at the beginning, it's just like something beyond, I felt it so strongly, beyond us is guiding us and helping us, because as human parents, we are not designed to go through this without that kind of help. So it was a really good reminder to know that I believe we plan this with love so that we can know love in a brand new way. And I just have to trust in that. And if I'm completely wrong, it doesn't matter, because I'm a parent who lost a child, and I have to get through life. And this is what keeps me going every single day, is that this was planned. We all chose it, and we chose it in love. And
Good. No, you're not wrong. That message comes through so many different ways that we know it's right. So thank you for bringing up that point that we all are guided, assisted, and loved by angels, guides, master teachers. And the article to read about that is article number 73. And there's an audio program for that called Ask Your Soul, Angels, and the Light, where you can ask questions. Turn off your brain, get in touch with your real self, and ask your biggest questions and get their answers. So, and the other thing I want to share about that is when I wrote article number 126, this too many miracles occurred. Of course, one of them had to do with Elizabeth Boyson. They had to do with angels. And so I won't try to cover that now because we have some other questions. But make sure you read at the end of article number 126 this wonderful little angel miracle. This, I call it a wink from the universe. So it's like, don't you remember? Don't you remember how it really is? It's okay. We're going to get through this. Thank you.
thank you.
Deborah.
Thank you, Rita, for that so much. And thank you, Dr. Mark. This was very impactful. And I know every situation is different. And so we're all working through this in our own way. I know for me, I was with my daughter the night before she passed, or the night she passed. And I was able to really walk through that with myself, which I've never done before. And that was just really, really helpful. And my daughter spoke to me during this, and she said, Mom, she said, look at what a beautiful story we planned.
Mm-hmm.
And then she said to me, get with me on these higher emotions from your chart, like the things like the bliss and the transcendence. She says, be here with me. And I really appreciate tonight, because that was just, I could hear her loud and clear, and it means a lot. So thank you.
Wow. Remind me again your daughter's name?
Annie.
Well, thanks to her that was worded so beautifully. Yeah, thank you, Deborah. And yeah, both you and Rita, the energies, and I hope everybody can feel that, just the look on your face and the energy, the words you're saying. People always thank you for doing this, Mark. I'm like, you don't get it. I get more out of this than anybody. I tell Elizabeth, I would pay good money for the honor of doing this. I mean, that's how meaningful it is. So, thank you again. Margaret.
Hi.
Hello.
I wanted to interject the importance of forgiveness. My son, Kenny, transitioned 20 years ago. He was killed by a drunk driver. So of course there's a forgiveness aspect in there. But when I did the work and went through the stage of forgiveness, he came to me like gangbusters, because my energy had shifted. My energy rose, the vibration of it rose to the point where he could say, "Hey, Mom, I'm right here. I'm right here with you." Because where I was at was not allowing him to, not to be with me, but for me to hear him. The forgiveness aspect was critical to my connection with my child. And all the other, parents in HPH and all the other parents I talked to, forgiveness aspect is so critical, and the forgiveness it's easier to free yourself of the burden of the anger, the regret, the sadness, the hatred, all of that stuff.
Well, again, you all are going to put me out of business. I mean, I can't top this, what you're saying, but yeah, your child is on the station peace, joy, love, and light. And if you're coming in station anger, hatred, guilt, and blame, yeah, you're not going to be picking them up, even though they're right beside you and tapping you on the shoulder. So thank you for reminding that. Oh my goodness. Woo. Anyone else? Before we close for the evening, I have time for one more. Or maybe it's time for us to hear from the illustrious Lynn, who knows so much more than she shares. Okay, maybe if we have a group cheer. We want Lynn. We want Lynn.
Oh, Mark, you give me way too much credit, but another beautiful night, and these parents are just amazing and so full of love, and as your kids are too. So remember that. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, everybody.
Well, thank you. Before we go, Cheryl, I want to give you a shout out. Lynn and I were talking about you before the meeting, how, she said she saw you at some function and how just the way you are now. You're smiling, you're with us. For those of you who are struggling, and Cheryl, I hope I'm not putting you on the spot or embarrassing you, but Cheryl struggled for a long time. I mean, you could just see her pain. She'd be like, just crying and face down and rubbing her. And now look at her. And we actually said, oh my God, she's like, Cheryl's our poster child for anybody that thinks, I'll never, wrap my head around this. I'll never feel better. Take it from Cheryl. It's possible, right?
Unmute yourself, Cheryl.
There we go. Okay, you can hear me now, right?
Yes.
Yeah. It seemed like the first 2 years, no, but the third year, it just got lighter. That's all I can say. The pain, I still get it from time to time, but not like every single minute of every single day. For me, that's how it worked for me, 3 years. But this group has helped me so much, and you were amazing tonight. Amazing. I was in tears. I love the fact that you brought something in. I don't know if I should use this word, religion, but I was brought up very religious, and I'm spiritual now, of course, but I think the religion was huge for me.
It is. Yeah, when you
It
focus
was
on
huge.
Well, thank you. And yeah, you feel lighter. I mean, that's it in a nutshell. And oh, hello, we are beings of love and light, and so is all of life. So we couldn't wrap that any more beautifully. Thank you very much, Cheryl,
You're welcome.
your demonstration.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right,
you
you
so
all, we will see you in, oh, and by the way, it wasn't me that was so amazing tonight. It was the group energy that made that happen. So
There was a lot of
we'll see
energy
you.
going on.
Yeah, we'll see you in 2 weeks. We'll do an Ask the Soul Doctor and Pixie Fairy session. And
Pixie Fairy won't be there in 2 weeks.
you won't?
No,
Wah.
Pixie Fairy will be on vacation.
All right. Well, so will I, but I was still going to be there.
I'll be on a boat.
Okay. All right. Love you all.
Love you guys. Thanks,
Thank
Mark.
you.
That was
Thank
wonderful.
you.
Thanks, Mark.
Good night.
Let me
Love ya.
know if there's anything you
Thank you.
need.
So much.
Thank
Bye-bye.
Much, Mark.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you.